when I put in the garlic. What's the difference between a quiche and an omelet?
Good question. Quiche, he asked, what is the difference between a quiche and an omelet? An omelet, or a quiche would be baked in the oven and could be, you know, see how deep that is? And it'll puff up even more in the oven, so it'll have some height to it. An omelet is a very thin layer of egg on like a griddle or a pan, and then usually you put items in it and roll it up. So, yeah.
So this goes in the oven?
This will go in the oven and will bake for about 45 minutes to an hour. So, we have another 3 pans that are already in the oven baking. So.
Any recipes on that table?
Is there anybody that didn't get the recipe that would like it?
She did.
She didn't. Okay.
She's got it
Can
now.
we pass a recipe up for her?
I got
Oh, you got it now. Okay.
You can put in as much garlic as you want. If you don't have garlic, you use garlic powder. If you have onions, you can throw those in. Almost anything can go wrong. If you know somebody that's got some woods and you want to dig up wild ramps, you can chop those up. You can put dandelion greens in the springtime.
Impossible pie.
Find them young again. Okay, that's all there is to it. Just lightly mix the stuff together, put it in the oven.
That's
Is
it.
that complicated?
Terribly.
I'll be back.
Milk for both sugar.
Let them be a little bit older to be better. Why is that?
You're hard boiled.
Yeah. For he asked about hard boiling eggs. And general thinking on eggs, when an egg is fresh and laid fresh, the interior contents of the egg basically fill up the whole eggshell. Eggshells are porous. So what happens is the moisture, liquid content inside the egg begins to evaporate. And what that does is it separates away from the membrane wall of the shell. That's why it's best to hard-boiled eggs if they're about 10 days old, because then some of that evaporative process has occurred. The interior contents of the shell have pulled away from the shell a little bit so that then you can peel the egg easily.
Yeah.
Other people, I know a lot of people who hard boil eggs fresh, and there are some different techniques that you can do that make it easier to peel them. I'll sometimes just lightly tap the egg so there's a slight crack in the shell, and that way a little bit of water can get right inside the shell, and it gets in between the shell and the membrane that holds the contents of the eggs in. And that will also aid in doing that. There are people who say if you put the eggs in cold water, bring it up to a boil, and then let it cool, that sometimes that works as well. It just I say just try it and see. But
So
generally, if you have an older egg that's a week or 2 weeks
Are you
old.
saying that the contents is smaller so that there's no room for it to expand when it hardens the boiling process?
Yes, that's true, but it also separates away from the shell.
Oh, it's separated.
So when it separates away from the shell, it makes it a little bit easier to peel the shell off.
Oh, I see.
When
Okay.
you buy eggs in the supermarket, is there a way to know how many days old they are already in the supermarket?
Generally, it's stamped on the carton, and
The production date or?
what they tell you on the carton, there are two things on the carton. They have a sell-by date,
Yeah.
which according to the USDA is 30 days past the packing date. Okay?
Oh,
There's
okay.
another code be the Julian calendar date for supermarket eggs. That is, a Julian calendar works on a numerical system, so every day of the year has a number attached to it. So January 1st is 1, January 2nd is 2, January 3rd is 3. Goes all the way to 365, right? So that Julian date is on the calendar, and that is, I believe, supposed to be the date the eggs were laid,
Oh, thank you.
generally speaking.
So how long should you keep eggs past that date?
According to the USDA, the sell-by date is 30 days past the packing date. Then beyond that, you can keep eggs refrigerated for at least 6 weeks. I can tell you anecdotally, we have left eggs sitting on our countertop for 4 months and eaten them, and they were just fine.
But these are organic.
We do have organic.
But they seem
And
bad.
store-bought.
That is exactly
Yeah, they
true.
float.
That is exactly true. Organic and free range, pasture-raised eggs have a totally different nutritional profile than supermarket eggs. And we were going to crack open one of these so that you could look at them and see the difference. Maybe Gary will do that and we'll pass that around. Okay, let me go to the next questions because I want to make sure everybody gets their questions answered.
I have two.
Okay,
One, do you sell those very large eggs?
those very large eggs, turkey eggs?
Yes.
Yes, we sell turkey eggs when we have them available.
Yeah.
Turkeys are seasonal layers. They lay in clutches and then they stop for a while and rest and then they'll lay another clutch. So they might do a couple of clutches a year. And we do have them, when they're available, we do have them at the farmer's market in Fredonia.
And how much are your regular eggs and how much are your turkey eggs?
Our organic chicken eggs, a box of large chicken eggs is $4.25, and the dozen turkey eggs are $6.
Will they keep us long?
They will. They will. I'll tell you a little secret. One of the college students told me he figured out that the turkey eggs were about double the size of a chicken egg, and when he priced it all out, he said, it sounds like a lot of money at $6 a dozen. He said, but I figured out I'm getting 2 chicken eggs for every turkey egg. And so he figured it out. He says, it actually comes out to about $3 a dozen when I look at it that way.
So that's how you bake with it, you cook with it as 2 eggs, chicken eggs?
Generally speaking, I mean, you know, if you looked at a dozen turkey eggs, you'll see some giant ones and some smaller ones. So they're, you know, they are different sizes in there. But I have never seen a turkey egg with a double yolk.
Because they're so big.
I know, they're huge. Well, turkeys are bigger than chickens. So they gotta start out bigger. They got a long way to go.
Is there any difference in taste of turkey versus?
You know, generally they're very similar in flavor. I think they tend to be a little bit richer because turkey eggs have a bigger yolk. So it's a little richer in the flavor because you've got more of that yolk flavor in there.
More cholesterol?
Possibly a little more cholesterol.
That's a whole nother ball of wax.
That's a whole other discussion. We could do a whole program on
I
that.
put a
Yes.
teaspoon of salt here. I would not put any salt at all.
You don't need to.
You don't need to. That's your preference. So you can write optional after the salt.
Or you can put a quarter teaspoon and not at all. The recipe is a guide.
I watched my salt and I was gonna leave that one teaspoon right out.
Okay. Yes. What makes a double yolk? Excellent question. Generally speaking, when an egg has 2 yolks in it, it's kind of a mistake. It often occurs with young layers when their reproductive systems aren't very mature. And so sometimes what will happen is 2 eggs will end up coming down the track at the same time, and they get bundled up in the shell together.